It is the final weekend of the season for the GT4 European Series, powered by RAFA Racing Club, and the first of the two races is ready to go. We've already had champions crowned in silver, which is ironic in a sense because it's the toughest class to win, and after years of being the bridesmaids, Benjamin Larouche and Robert Constany have finally triumphed. But the Pro-Am and Am competitions are still very much up for grabs, and there is the silver trophy ready to be presented to Benjamin Larouche, and with his sunglasses on, Robert Constany, Laurent Gaudin, who is the man in charge of the GT4 competitions, as well as being the general manager of the GT World Challenge Europe Endurance Cup, ready to assist with the presentation. And it's a delighted Benjamin Larouche celebrating. David Addison and Joe Osborne are trackside. Alex Legui is down on the grid, and I think he's going to be able to have a word with our drivers very shortly. But it is quite something to have your Champions Trophy presented, not necessarily at the end of a race, but at the start of one. They won it in Valencia, but pressure off, and that's quite a nice special feeling going into the race, knowing that the trophy is yours. So Benjamin Larouche and Robert Constany are our champions in silver. They have a new livery on the car as well. New livery, a trophy is theirs as well, and we can hear from them. Alex Legui has caught up with our champions.
I'm just coming in to interrupt this all-important ceremony. As you stand in front of this incredible trophy, boys, just how is it to see this?
Yes, it's amazing to win the championship after a lot of years without a lot of second position. So we won it. Now we must to win the title of team, and yes, to make a good race, because we have the color of Jules Bianchi, so we have to be in fast, because Jules was always fast here. So
I'd like you to show me the car in just a moment. Laurent, before I move on to you, Rob, what does it mean for you guys to be standing here discussing and in front of this incredible trophy? What a season it's been.
That's incredible trophy since a long time now, and I'm very happy to give to you your names to put it on the stories of this championship.
Thank you, Laurent.
Thank you, Laurent.
Robert Constany steps forward, and with the plaque with their names engraved, that is going to adorn the trophy, the latest in a very impressive list of champions. Well done, Robert Constany and Benjamin Larouche, and it's all lined up absolutely beautifully as well. Bravo, great effort, and it's taken a lot of work, a lot of effort for these two to win a championship that they've come so close to winning in the past, and a really impressive job, and not just by the two drivers, but by the team as well.
Really is, and great teamwork putting it on, because it took two of them, one to hold the trophy and Ghazani to push. But strange mindset now for the drivers going into this race, of course. How do they approach it? The championship is done, and it's been a wild year for them, so I'm sure they won't want damage at any point. But now, are they going to maybe go on the back foot and they don't need to push, or is it the other way and they don't care and they might as well see what happens?
Yeah, I mean, the last thing you want is any sort of penalty that's going to cost you points, that's going to affect that championship. Yeah, they can't be caught, but I think you're right, keeping out of trouble is probably important, but at least they go into this without any pressure. And right now, if anything, they're going to be distracted, aren't they, because of all these celebrations. They're pointing at the latest of those champions plaques. Robert Constany, Benjamin Larouche, champions for 2025. It's been an epic job, and proof that there's life in the old dog, in which case is the car. The Audi R8, not the newest of GT4 cars, but even so. Now, what about Pro-Am and Am? Well, let's go to Pro-Am first of all, because fighting for a championship here amongst the drivers, Stanislav Savronov, and he's with Alex.
Stanislav, firstly, congratulations on your FFSA GT Championship win last weekend at Paul Ricard. And here you are fighting very hard for the GT4 Pro-Am Championship. Can you do it? The double, the crown?
Merci beaucoup. And let's see, I don't know, we have two racing in front, and Hendrik and he have very good place, and he is unlucky for quali for him, but let's see, the race is 1 hour, and we made all we can.
How would you describe the level in this championship?
Oh, level is every time it's higher and higher, and it's great champion. I think it's world level.
8 points in it. So, high pressure or high adrenaline? Are you enjoying this?
I'm enjoying, yeah.
All right.
I'm waiting to start, and I hope everything fine.
Good, you look very happy. Have a great race.
Thank you.
Stanislav Safronov and Alexander Weintraub could do a double by winning a class in the French Championship and the European. They'd be the first drivers to do that since 2022. But there's the race as well to concentrate. Josh Rattigan and Mackenzie Cresswell there on pole position. Right, let's get back to Alex, though. She's found our champions again.
And apologies, I'm just rudely interrupting your photos here because I am deeply fascinated by the livery on your car. Can you just talk us through it?
Yeah, this delivery is a dedicace to our friend Jules Bianchi. And after we win the championship in Nürburgring, we imagine a new design for the memorial to Jules for never forget Jules. And the livery is about the last helmet of Jules with the chrome, with the gold, and about the racing kart GB17.
Wow, that means an awful lot. I know that you were all very close friends, weren't you, Benjamin in particular? It's incredible how you've got the nod with the gold as well, which is on the side of his Monaco helmet, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think now we try to win for improve the memorial to Jules.
Yeah, incredible. Merci beaucoup. Congratulations. Well done.
So Robert Constantine wishes Benjamin Larouche good luck. So celebration's over. Now get your race face back on. As ever, it's a really big grid as well for GT4 European Series. It's a 40-strong entry, stretching all the way back down. Now we've got champions in Silver Crown, but there is still a battle going on for second, is there not? And that is going to be between the Toyota drivers here, Jan Duran and Hadrian David, and also the BMW, Gabriele Piano and Bekke Bessler. Silver, you've heard from Stanislav Safronov. He shares with Alexander Weintraub. The other car there fighting for honours is the Porsche of Henrik Still, Joachim Bolting. In Am, Max Kronberg looking for back-to-back titles, Pro-Am last year and this year, sharing now with Daniel Blickler, and he is 10 points up, along with Daniel, over the BMW partnership of Anthony Debarn and Jean-Mathieu Leandri. So there's still a lot up for grabs in these final two races, and we know that GT4 racing is very, very competitive, and trying to play the points game here is really tough, isn't it? Because anything can happen.
And with 40 cars hurtling into turn one, that is certainly going to be the case. We did see a bit of an overcast front move in, but that seems to have cleared. Those clouds hanging on the hills behind us, and looks like it should be a dry evening, and it's going to be potentially a bit difficult for some of the drivers with the sun in their eyes as it continues to get lower into the sky.
Is that something that you focus on, or are you suddenly conscious of it? You know, you're concentrating on something else, and then if you're not concentrating on that, it's almost a surprise to you. Yeah,
you try not to focus on the sun, that's how your eyes. But of course, a tinted visor is the main go-to, but now more drivers are actually putting either a visor strip or just tape on the bottom edge of their visor and using it like a baseball cap to kind of shield their eyes ever so more. But yeah, the drivers will be well versed in that as engines fire up, the final mechanics leave the grid.
Yeah, we gave the GT4 drivers a night race, didn't we, at Spa, or at Misano as well. They've had early morning races, late evening races, so pretty much everything has been thrown at them in what's been another really good competitive season, real mix of winners across the classes, and the engines all fire up then, so we are ready for the formation lap behind that Maserati lead car. You can see it's in position, it's ready to go, and now everybody is going to be waved away. The safety car, the lead car, takes them round, and then the first of the two races of the weekend will be good to go. As ever, it's a really impressive entry, not just numerically, but also in the strength of the CVs of the drivers. So Josh Rattigan on pole position for Elite Motorsport, and a rather dirty circuit now, all the marbles put down after a busy day of use here at the Circuit de Catalunya.
Relatively relentless, isn't it? We were live at 9 AM this morning, and the track has been hot ever since, so that's why so much of the off the racing line is that dirty, and that will be a consideration for overtaking around the full 4.6 kilometres here at Barcelona.
Is this a McLaren circuit? I mean, the evidence of one lap in qualifying suggests so, but they only got 10 minutes in order to set the lap times.
Yeah, I would be looking to the car directly behind the first Audi on the inside for a run into turn one. The McLaren quick over a lap, but not quick in a straight line, whereas the Audi quite the opposite. So potentially a move could be going from Gregory Gilbert from third place for the lead into turn one.
It's all very genteel on this formation lap, slowly weaving their way down to turn one. Let's look at how they line up then. Josh Rattigan starts on pole position, and the Spanish driver Jan Duran lining up with him. Greg Gilbert starts third, and a Pro-Am pole for Edwin Helston starting fourth. Another Spanish driver is fifth on the grid. That is Luc Ibanieff. Alongside him is Hugo Mojica. Then you've got Benjamin Lariche starting on row 4 with Stanislav Safronov for company. Beke Bessler's BMW next, alongside Javier Sagrera, and then Gabriele Yilkova's Toyota Supra with Victor Bouveng's BMW alongside. Eric Evans' Grunt and Go Mustang has Tomasz Gledesh in the Speedy Motorsports Supra next. Next up is Vinny Beltramelli, and Bas Visser is alongside, ahead of Jagish Gedit, quite a long way back by his high standards, and Callum Davis' McLaren, one to watch as well. Mark de Fulgencio comes next, alongside Ricardo van der Ende, a long way back also for a quick BMW driver. Next up, the AM pole position to Rima Jafali, sharing with her brother Ali. Davide Meloni is next, ahead of Gustavo Xavier, and then Nathan van Springel in another of the Mustangs. Max Kronberg starts on row 13 alongside Elias Niskanen. Then it is Roberto Faria and David Kuhlmann, ahead of Philip Talani and Christopher Brunhagen. Row 16 is the Lotus in the hands of Stefano D'Aste, and Henrik Still, after lots of laps disallowed for track limit excesses, he's on the outside of row 16. Jean-Mathieu Leandri is on the 17th row with Tim Horrell for company. Then Vasily Vladikin lines up alongside Roman Wozniak. The penultimate row has Tudor Tudoraci and Igor Sorokin. The back row, Max Huber and Stefan Nilsson. So that is how they are going to line up at the end of this formation lap, when they put themselves into the 2x2 formation. As ever, pit window, it's 25 to 35 minutes and 76 seconds. Line to line is the pit stop time. So if you are short of that, you have a 1 second joker that you can play, but you can only play it in one race, so you can't take the proverbial, can you? You've got to be fairly good on that stopwatch, and better not to use the joker at all. It's a really busy weekend, not only on track, but in terms of crowd, and they're overlooking turn 10. Really good grandstand. They can walk around the paddock and then go to that grandstand at the back of the paddock and see the final key corners to the lap. A lot of effort is put into this event by the event promoter, Jesus Pozzo, to look after the fans off track with lots of car club displays, trade stalls, music, you name it, to make it more than just a race meeting. And year after year after year, the audience here grows. Davide Meloni's view, cars all around him. It's going to be very, very busy on that run down to turn 1. The Maserati lead car then ready to bail for the pit lane. It does so right at the last moment. That means that now everybody is good to go. And so race 1 of the weekend in GT4 European Series, powered by RAFA Racing Club. We are good to go racing. Lights on the gantry are red. The Toyota Supra there, second on the grid of Jan Duran, lags back a little bit. So away storms Josh Rattigan into the lead of the race as Greg Gilbert tries to get the Audi up the inside. Switches sides, does he? No, he stands his ground on the inside. It's Jan Duran going to the outside line. Then Edwin Elston's green Porsche behind him. Gilbert in the green and grey Audi to the inside line. But Rattigan will lead into turn 1. Crowds Duran out over the curb then. And that's going to give Greg Gilbert the chance to challenge maybe on the inside. Then Gilbert gets squeezed and there's contact, because then Gilbert and Edwin Helston get together. Gilbert's off the road, Helston's off the road, and that's Lariche off the road as well in avoidance. So 2 of the 3 team speed car entries involved in the dramas at the first corner. Greg Gilbert has not had a lot of luck this year. Remember, a destroyed car at Spa and that massive accident in race 2. But there, that was all a bit scrappy.
Yeah, it was an early start, wasn't it, from Rattigan? He was gone out the last corner. I think that was trying to negate some of the issue with the straight line performance of the McLaren, and that really strung everyone out. And the Toyota tried to make it stick, and it didn't. As we see a bit of side-to-side contact there between the RAFA Club car versus the Supra, all clean at the moment. And I think the McLaren has to tuck in. But great first lap for Josh Rattigan so far. Yeah,
Callum Davis, wasn't it, in the white McLaren there, trying to squeeze up the order, getting involved with Javier Sagrera in the Speedy Toyota, Speedy Motorsport Toyota. So Josh Rattigan then leading the way, Jan Duran in second place, and then up into third place now is the Pro-Am leading Ginetta Hugo Mojica. So that's been a demon first lap, helped by others' travails, I'll grant you. 61 there round the outside is Eric Evans. And there you can see Javier Sagrera battling up alongside Victor Bouvin. Contact between them, bit of hip and shoulder. Ricardo van der Ende tries to get up the inside, couldn't do it. His brother Jackie van der Ende, former Formula Ford Festival winner, set to come back and do the Walter Hayes Trophy in a few weeks at Silverstone. But as the cars come out of the right-hander of turn 14, it's Josh Rattigan, last year's champion in silver, who leads the way at the end of the lap. Tougher season this year for Elite Motorsport and the McLarens. But here, Rattigan has pulled a gap at the end of one lap of 1.6 seconds. And that is the Vasily Vladikin BMW crawling back to the pit lane. Eric Evans goes toe-to-toe there. Look with van der Ende at the end of the pit straight, but through onto the inside line. Ricardo van der Ende hangs on to 11th spot. BMW versus Ford.
Yeah, it was damage on the front right corner of the 96, which is limping back just after turn 9. So potentially leader's going to catch that slow BMW in sector 3 this lap. So we'll have to keep their eyes on that. Now Evans down the inside. It was a late move. He maybe just had enough overlap to force the issue. He definitely forced the issue there, and that's going to be hard for the drivers in the smoke.
It is, because there's a car in there somewhere and people hugging the inside line, but one waits for the bang as people try and squeeze through the gap. There you've got number 16 Mercedes now also being forced a little bit wide as they drop down the hill. So that car involved in a big battle as the car of Marc de Fulgencio goes through. Still that yellow flag is out in the second sector, but it looks as though everybody has just about been able to wriggle past.
I think maybe the 317's gone off in avoidance is the only thing there at turn 4.
Okay, still the yellow flag shown there. Safety car called, so yes, maybe we are in bigger strife than we first anticipated. Inevitably, with a car in the middle of the road and in tar smoke, yes, there, I'm afraid, is van der Ende going no further. Look at the broken suspension on that front left then. So van der Ende is out. You can see him tumbling down the order on the Lumi rank, but he's out of the race. The 27th, 29th, as everybody else goes through the next sector point. But just turn it off now, Ricardo. You're out. And that is 317. And this is significant for the championship, don't forget, because the car of Jean-Mathieu Leandri and Anthony Debarn in the gravel, that was 10 points back from Kronberg and Blickler in the championship. So if they're not scoring in this race, that may, with some crude maths, mean that Blickler and Kronberg are going to be AM champs.
Yeah, brutal for them, and I think they would have just been blinded by cars going left and right. Originally, we're doing a good job. The safety car going very slowly. Rattigan's going to have to concertina everyone up behind. It's always a worry as a driver under safety car, they get rear-ended. But yeah, I just assume the 317 would have been blinded by cars in avoidance and couldn't do anything to avoid hitting the stranded van der Ende in the 17 BMW.
So we'll try and unravel it all in due course as they're Josh Rattigan, race leader, frustrated by all of this because, of course, everyone's bunched up behind him. Replay at the start, first of all. So this is on the run towards turn 1. Have a look at Greg Gilbert then. He's on the inside, stands his ground all the way into turn 1. First up, it is Jan Duran, who tries to go late on the brakes, but then runs out of road as Rattigan runs out wide as well. Gilbert goes onto the curb, tries to get back onto the road, turns in and makes contact there with Edwin Helston, who goes around. Lariche goes off into the gravel in avoidance. Helston drops to 34th. Here it is for another angle.
This will be an interesting one because for sure the Audi misses the apex at turn 3, the next right-hander. Bit of contact there, even between the Porsche. And the Porsche leaves him room, and that's why I think it's a racing incident at that point. They're both expecting the other car to be not on that part of the space, and I can't really apportion blame one way or the other. I think it was a miscommunication. Of course, the Audi is coming back from a grassy sort of excursion, but I don't really know what else he could have done. He's still hugging the corner pretty tight. That one makes it look slightly more guilty to the Porsche. The Ginetta very lucky to miss any contact with that spinning Porsche, but I don't know, for me, a racing incident. This is the forcing issue. We saw it coming into the corner and Evans hooking up the inside. And again, that one from the other shot looks a lot guiltier on Evans' part, but it does look like van der Ende is starting to squeeze him, and they're just going for the same space. And then the 317, sure enough, it was a slight contact, wasn't it? He was tucked up behind the Jafali Elite McLaren and just couldn't see the stranded van der Ende.
So the net result of all of that is safety car deployed, and the incident between Gilbert and Helston is under investigation at turn 2. Greg Gilbert did survive, he's 30th. Benjamin Lariche survived and he's 32nd, and Edwin Helston down in 34th. So it's not quite what Larouche had in mind by way of a celebratory race without the pressure, is it? Off at the second corner and now having to rebuild the race. But the safety car bunches people up, and that does give a little bit of a lifeline to him. Bad news, though, for the Jean-Mathieu Leandri BMW out of the race. Bad news for the championship in Am, that.
Yeah, really is. And shouldn't be too long a safety car. Obviously 2 BMWs get out of the way, but they can get them behind the barriers quite quickly. So maybe another couple of cars here, a couple of laps behind the safety car to get us clear. And be interesting to see what Rattigan does at the start of the race. He went early, didn't he, to try and stretch him. Yeah. But if you go early, he's going to give a bigger slipstream effect to all the cars behind him. So difficult one here at Barcelona when to go, because it is such a quick end to the lap with flat out turn 13 and 14.
Earlier on in the day, we had the race debut of the GT2 Ginetta G56. Here you've got the GT4 version. Doesn't it look small in comparison?
Yeah, and relatively dated as well. I always think that when a new car comes out, suddenly the older one looks dated straight away. Van der Ende looking in, trying to see if there's any chassis damage. It's an awkward hit. Hopefully it's just literally pull the suspension clean off and they can go. The marshals telling the cars to go that side of the car, which is helpful. And Van der Ende just assessing the damage.
So the Dutch driver then out of the race, and there the other side of the corner is Van der Ende now. So I'm trying to see where Leandri's car ended up. That's there. So he ran wide, struck it through the gravel, or went off in avoidance of the car through the gravel. Trying to see whether there's any frontal damage, but it could have been a moment that Leandri suddenly had to jink left and ended up careering through the gravel. Anyway, he's out of the race.
I assume he's got very similar damage on his front left to Van der Ende's front left, the way they would have collided. And the lock, steering lock that was put in is the main reason why that wheel's been peeled away.
That's Hendrik Still, who is another of those drivers trying to fight for Pro-Am honours. 87 is under investigation, that being Jan Duran for not following race director instruction. I wonder whether that is because, having been crowded off the road at turn 1, he rejoined rather than going on the escape road, because there's a sort of white line, a bit like a sort of pit exit lane that you use and blend back in, and he didn't. He just drove back onto the circuit at the first opportunity. That, I suspect, is what he's being looked at for.
Yeah, which would be harsh for how much he cut across the inside. I think it was a fair go at taking the lead, and didn't really gain anything after that, did he? So I feel that would be a harsh penalty if he does get one for that.
There is Jan Duran. We'll try and have another look at that start in a moment or two as the cars come then under safety car procedure down towards the end of the lap. So let's have another look at the start. Keep your eye on the Toyota then. It's on the outside line down to turn 1. Now look at the bottom of the screen. You see where there's that white pair of lines that gives you a lane, effectively. Duran is off the road, but look, he comes back onto the circuit. He doesn't go into that lane, which is, if you like, the escape road, the rejoin lane. He joins back on. It doesn't necessarily cause the incident. It's a separate element to it, but Duran does not go through that, for want of a better phrase, the rejoin lane. He just skips back onto the circuit, and whether he's caused an incident or not, that is not what the race director has been asking them to do.
Yeah, was he only there because he got squeezed by Rattigan? That would be his defence.
And I would say that's a separate issue, my lad. How you rejoined is what is in discussion, not how you got there.
And that is always the hard call for race control. There's mitigating circumstances, Your Honour, is how I'd be defending myself right now if I was in that 87 Supra.
And if ever you come up in front of Judge Osborne, Lord help you. Right, so the BMWs are being retrieved, and we are then under the safety car procedure, as you can tell. So Joël Durval, the race director, keeping an eye on the recovery with the local officials here, keeping the race going, albeit under control conditions like this. We've got 19 minutes or so before we need to fret about the pit window opening. So Josh Rattigan also a bit frustrated. He can't do much about building the lead. In Pro-Am, it's Hugo Mojica ahead of Stanislav Safronov. Third in the class, Gabriel Yelkova. Now, where do you find Hendrik Still? Down in 10th in the class. So it's very much advantage Safronov and Weintraub at the moment. And in Am, Max Kronberg and Daniel Blichler lead, and their championship rivals are out. So very much advantage Kronberg and Blichler. We can't for definite say they've won it until we know where they're going to finish. But right now, it's looking very, very good indeed.
Really is for them. That would be a great way to finish off the championship. Car 87, no investigation necessary.
Well, that's because he was squeezed off, you see. It wasn't anything to do with him.
It's not how you get squeezed, it's how you rejoin, David. Come on.
Oh, yeah, there's a funny echo here. Yeah. So the race director is happy. No investigation necessary. And Jan Duran carries on. Much mopping of brows and sighs of relief all round. That is Max Kronberg. Last year with Henrik Still, he was Pro-Am champion, looking to make history by doing back-to-back titles. OK, different classes, but it was something very special for Max Kronberg. New co-driver, Daniel Blickler, for this season. Daniel's not done too much racing up until this year, but they've done a really good job together.
Really have, and formed a good relationship. Similar pace, which is what you always want between the team, because you normally then want a similar balance as well if you're generating a similar lap time. And everyone's still working the tyres hard. We went on board with Ratican earlier, and interestingly, the elite team not using the tyre pressure monitoring system from McLaren. I can see on the dash they were just reading 0. So then he's got no idea what pressure he's got, so he's got to go fully off field. Proper old school, that.
There is Henrik Still going through, and there is the Max Kronberg, Daniel Blickler Porsche. Max Kronberg at the wheel of it, championship leaders then, from Jean-Mathieu Leandre and Anthony de Barn, and that, I think, is enough to give them the championship. Certainly if they win the class, it is. If they don't finish for whatever reason, then we'll have another look at the points. But with Mathieu Leandre and de Barn out, I think we can pretty safely say champions-elect for Kronberg and Blickler. Starts now under investigation as well, just to see if there was any crowding between Ratican and Duran, possibly.
Yeah, I still just think Ratican went very early. Shouldn't be accelerating before the lights go out. He is in control of the speed, but the speed should be constant between 80 and 120 kilometers an hour in the race direction notes. To me, just looked like he was going very quick to spread the field out. So that would be my guess of what's being investigated right now.
So the car's coming down through turn 6, the little kink. It's not always, of course, what the leader is up to. It's anybody else in that pack. And the race director, oh, hello, that's Eric Evans off the road in the Mustang. Now, that was the car that got involved with Van der Ende. And that off the racetrack was not what I was anticipating seeing. It's limping back, I think, so he's trying to get out of the way, but Eric Evans was 11th at the start of the lap, and he's clearly got a problem because he's dropping down the order. What's going on here? He's pulling out of the way. So is this damage sustained in the contact?
Maybe. The 25 Toyota is behind him has a massive gap in front, so I can only assume they're trying to help. Just trying to spot any obvious damage on that car. Is the rear left at a bit of a jaunty angle? It doesn't seem to be tracking fully straight, and maybe the front right there with a bit of damage as well, but nothing super obvious, but a definite issue on that car.
All right, let's have a look then. So he goes deep into turn 7, and smoke there as though it doesn't. Oh, it's a wobbly wheel. Left front suspension's broken, isn't it? That's why. So the car, a legacy of the contact on Van der Ende, has finally given way, and he got to the corner. It would barely turn. It's all right through right-handers, but left is a different proposition altogether. So that's another car done for the race.
Yeah, it's going to be hard for him to get into pit lane. Very tight right-hander coming up, so hopefully he keeps it out of the pit wall on the inside of it. But yeah, day done for the 61.
So broken front left suspension. Eric Evans and Marco Signoretti, they've had 2 wins early on in the season. We thought they were fighting for the championship, but the whole season sort of went downhill from then on in, and it's a sad way to end that car out of the race. It's a long safety car period, this, with the 2 cars to be retrieved, but there's still drama happening, even under safety car conditions.
Yeah, and I guess luckily for Eric Evans, it went pop under safety car, because if that was under green flag, that could have been a bigger issue for him, but obviously the steering arm is finally fatigued after that contact, which is DNF Van der Ende, and be interesting to see what race control say about that one as well. Initial feeling was the Mustang was guilty, but when we got that drone shot, it did look like Van der Ende just started to close the door at the second apex of turn 4 and maybe left Evans no room to run into.
Lights are still on atop the safety car, so no suggesting it's going to be in on this lap, as the Pro-Am championship would be going the way, if things stay as they are, which is unlikely, of Stanislav Safronov and Alexander Weintraub, winners of the French championship, which runs to GT4 only, not GT3 and GT4 like, say, in the UK. Henrik Still and Joachim Bolting would be second. Joachim Balder and Victor Bouveng third. It is between Safronov, Weintraub and still Bulting for the championship.
Bit of grass in one of the Mercedes grills there, so they've obviously had a off-track excursion. Relatively low air temp, 22 degrees, so probably can get away to the pit window where the team could then clear that out and make sure that the radiator is getting the air there. The Academy Motorsport guys looking at that, and I assume it's the track control arm has failed, and that front left has literally no control over what direction it's going. You can see the damage on the rim as well. That would have been from the contact, and the front left corner as well has lost a dive plane with that damage off the BMW. So tough break for the Academy Motorsport guys, and now they're a lap down. It's definitely time to call it a day. Eric Evans still sat in there just thinking, what has happened to his championship?
Yeah, the Academy Motorsport Mustang run by Matt Nicol-Jones' team. Certainly very competitive at the start of the season, but for whatever reason, it's not been a good second half of the year. In the same way, in a sense, that it's gone the other way for Elite Motorsport and the McLaren, hasn't it? Because they were struggling at the start of the year, both reliability as well as pace, but then sort of Spa onwards, that's rebuilt and they've picked up again.
Yep, safety car in this lap as we go on board the Elite Motorsport car, so he will be able to take control of the pack. And where does he go? Where would I go if I was Josh Rattigan? I would go on the apex of turn 12, so the double apex right-hander coming up. So we've got turn 10 here. Now he can start to back off. The safety car lights should go off any second now, and he can take control, which he's doing. He's going to back everyone up. Everyone's still quite strung out. This is our champions all the way back, 3 corners back, so the field need to bunch up somewhat.
And for second in silver, Jan Duran and Hadrien David 1 point ahead of Gabriele Piana and Beke Besler as we stand. Besler is 6th in the race, but 4th in class, because you've got these Pro-Am cars mixing it as well. So here's the traffic jam coming down through turn 10, and Josh Rattigan has stacked them all up. It's up to him how he wants to do this. Safety car with the lights out, gets away. You've got to stay within a given length when the lights are on, but when the lights are out, you can do what you want. And now he floors it, and he accelerates out of turn 12. He's listening to you, and he gets away. So coming into 13 now, Josh Rattigan is already clear by a couple of lengths, cuts the corner on the inside and runs wide on the outside.
2 track limits, is it worth it for the restart? At the moment, you would say so, wouldn't you? Because he's got a bit of a jump over Duran, who's also got a bit of a jump. Well, the best restarts for the top 4 there, some big gaps, but then the cars are in a massive cluster. 5th all the way down to 15th, it seems, still there. Tyre temp still an issue for some cars, weaving left to right.
So down to turn 1, Rattigan leads the way into the braking zone with Jan Duran in second place. Third is the Ginetta of Hugo Mojica leading its class. 4th, the Mercedes of Luke Ibanez, and then Stanislas Safronov in the Aston Martin running 5th, and Beke Besler's BMW 6th, and you're 7th. The drone hanging on at the back of the queue as they come underneath us now out of turn 2, the climb up towards 3, and then the short straight to 4, which is the hairpin that starts that brief descent down the hill with, again, Josh Rattigan trying to build that lead, and he's now only got 5 minutes before the pit window opens.
Yeah, this stint has evaporated for these first drivers, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Pit window will be busy, of course, so the teams will be plotting when they want to pit, and we've got a real good spread of manufacturers, haven't we? Here we've got 6 different manufacturers inside the top 6, 7 inside the top 8. So again, balance performance this year has been strong in GT4, allowing any cars, it seems, to be able to take wins.
There you've got the other Supra that's a rapid car in the hands of Gabriele Ilkova, showing with Cindy Goudet, fending off Vinny Beltramelli, the Porsche that was a class winner in Pro-Am right at the very start of the season. Rattigan then trying to build that lead, or rebuild that lead over Jan Duran. But Hugo Mojica doing good things in that Ginetta that's been quick all season, got beaten up, didn't it, in earlier races, but going well. And for 3rd in Pro-Am, Gabriele Ilkova versus Vinny Beltramelli. And then, in fact, Victor Bouveng in the BMW right in that queue as well there, 9th overall.
Yeah, starting to bunch up. The 16 car here has had a pretty good start. That was the car with the grass in the grille, so he's obviously had to make some kind of excursion. There's another excursion here further back in the back.
Yeah, 44 is off the racetrack. That is Philippe Talamy, David Kuhlmann there in a very battle-scarred Aston Martin, and a 10-second penalty for, as the yellow flags are shown. We've also got number 5 in the gravel. That is the Aston I'll come to in a second, but penalties going to Greg Gilver, number 8, and also Eric Evans for causing collisions. So Gilver is deemed to be guilty in one, Evans in the other. We're going to go safety car again, surely, aren't we, with that car those cars off the racetrack. So you've got Kuhlmann off the road, you've got Palamy off the road, and then the other car that was stuck in the gravel is Roberto Faria's Aston Martin. It's all in sector 3. It's all kicked off around sort of turn 10 and 11.
Well, I think Faria's off on the exit of T8 actually, sector 2. So we've got 2 different incidents, and the first one, Faria, they're going to come to, is in a very awkward place right now, as these cars have had a big hit. Full course yellow, all cars down to 80 kilometers an hour now. So on the GPS, it looks like Faria is off on the left somewhere here as we get round turn 7. He should be in the gravel trap somewhere on our left.
Yeah, you might be right. I was saying it was all at that part of the circuit because there wasn't a yellow shown in sector 2, but there he is, yeah, hidden sort of partly behind the barrier. But the only yellow on the timing was for sector 3. Anyway, we found him. Jan Duran is back under investigation for an unsafe rejoin. So the one that we were looking at and was deemed no investigation necessary, it's now being looked at for an unsafe rejoin. Plot thickens. So Rattigan, full course yellow. This slows everybody down so people can go to work. And I suspect with 3.5 minutes, we might end up going full course yellow through the pit window.
Yeah, I think you're going to have to change their strategy, these teams. And what do you say? Safety cars breed?
Safety cars.
No, full course yellows.
In this case, yes. But you can see the reason. You've got 2 cars on the edge of the road, one of which is in the gravel and going nowhere. That's going to take more than 3 minutes to move. And there might even be some clearing up. You've also got Roberto Faria's car to move. So I suspect that Joel Doval may well either delay the pit window until the road is clear or keep the race under full course yellow all the way through the window so as not to disadvantage anybody, but potentially the window will be delayed. Yeah, I mean, it's a hard one to call, isn't it? Because we've had so little green flag running. We haven't really got into any flow of it, and the race director will be worried if we go back to green to then get the pit window open, is it just going to go back to another full course yellow? So maybe the latter option of letting everyone box under a full course yellow would be the more sensible ploy right now. Well, I think it may be that if the race is under caution, it's going to be delayed, but we'll worry about that in 1 minute and 20 seconds time, which is the amount of time to make the call. Over the line goes Josh Rattigan. So at the end of the lap, we will know. Now, Jan Duran, 5-second time penalty, not respecting race director instructions and an unsafe rejoin. So he has been hit for the turn 1 drama. So the car that is in second place gets a 5-second penalty. Told you, you see. It's not about how you off the road, it's about how you rejoin, Your Honour. So you were right and wrong in equal measures. There's a lot of penalties to be taken into account, isn't it? Evans is one is not important now. And the pit window is postponed. So the pit window will be put back while we're under full course yellow conditions like this. That's the now penalised Supra of Jan Duran. So I'm now interested as to what it was they were looking at that no investigation was necessary for against Jan Duran early on. Yeah, everything was against him, wasn't it? I wonder if that under investigation then cleared prompted a team to go up to say, really? Yeah. Are you sure about that? Maybe. And a second investigation was done potentially, because I only saw one indiscretion, and that was the one where he went off the circuit and didn't take your access road correctly. And look how deep that is in the gravel. The crowd cheering the marshals for the clear-up operation here. And an interesting pick-up point. I've not seen the roll cage used before in that fashion, but I assume the front towing strap has snapped and they're now having to go for the next best option. And I say best in inverted commas. So the 5-second penalty hurts more, of course, under this slow speed because the gaps that he was building to cars behind, Duran has now lost, and a good turn of speed from the pickup truck and also the recovery truck. Marshall there running alongside. It's quite a long drag now, isn't it? I wonder where they're going to put it. Where they're going to put this Faria car. This in an interesting position. Looks like they've tried to pull it forwards. It's dug itself in, and it hasn't really moved. But I assume he's got a mechanical issue and pulled off there. It's quite an odd place just to go off by yourself. So the continued full course yellow is with us. I've got something right. Last penalty. Car 78, 10 seconds, speeding at the race start. Well, Josh Rattigan will be thrilled you've got that right. So that was the original start of the race when he was ahead by a length or so. Of course, if you're Jan Duran, you could make a sluggish start and make him look bad, couldn't you? But how cynical of us to suggest. We could do with a look at the start, maybe, to give Joe a chance to explain what Josh Rattigan did. The stewards certainly feel that he effectively jumped the start, is what we're saying.
Yeah, exactly. Went too early, and I think that was a tactic to spread everyone out to try and mitigate the lack of straight line performance I was talking about in that McLaren Artura. And that's not a problem with the car. That's the balance of performance. That's how the car is positioned, and it's very quick in the corners, but has to be slow in the straights to make it sense. But right now, race control working overtime, aren't they? Want a penalty? Here's one. Bang, bang, bang. It feels like we've got 4 or 5 outstanding penalties. Evans is the only car that's not really affected because he's no longer in the race.
So that 10-second time penalty, can they serve that on the pit stop?
It's got to be, hasn't it? I would have thought. So it's going to be
a post-race one.
No, what we've seen historically this year, isn't it? If it's pit stop, it's in the pit stop, and if it's after, it's added to your race time.
So, behind my questioning is that, okay, you lose time in the pit stop, but if there's a second stint safety car, you're back in the game.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, you'd rather serve it earlier, that's for sure.
So we are still under full course yellow. The pit window is postponed. So we've got this, the top 2 cars, there they are, both with penalties. 10 seconds to that one, and 5 to this one. One for an unsafe rejoin and one for effectively a full start. So the Ginetta, in real terms, leads overall as well as leading in Pro-Am.
Until they get a penalty, of course. But at the moment, they are the race leader, the 51 car. The Modjka brothers have had a good start to this race, haven't they? Yeah. They've got a clean car as well. They seem to have avoided any contact thus far.
When was the last time we had Ginetta winning? Probably in the days of Luke Ibanez and Xavier Herrera sharing a car. That was a long time ago, and they drove the Ginetta because they've been Mercedes drivers at NM Racing for a long time. Certainly Luke Ibanez. Right, so we've had a long look at the Turn 1 incident. Let's try and piece together Josh Rattigan's start. Joe, it's going to be all yours.
Okay, so we're going to get to sit on board with Rattigan. So we go on board. This is the last corner. So we should be maintaining a steady speed in between 80 and 120k. Let's see when he accelerates. That shouldn't happen until the lights have gone out. We're flat out. Lights are still red. You can see they're red, still red, and they're off now. And we're doing 170 kilometers an hour. That is quite obvious. Bang to rights. I don't think there can be any penalty whatsoever. And yeah, unfortunately, there is no argument, and that is potentially quite a lenient penalty, only getting 10 seconds.
And Josh Rattigan will say, but I did nothing wrong. You know, I was coming up to the line, but the stewards disagree and they're in charge. There, going through shot is number 259 Porsche, which is the JW Race Service entry of Bas Visser and Rutger Brakel. 32 is Henrik Still. This has really gone against him, hasn't it? I know that a lot of this was down to his zealotry of track limits in qualifying, but the fact is, you've made the point, we've had so little green running, he's not really had much chance to get up through the order and overtake anybody. Yeah,
it's been a difficult one for him thus far, and he's made a good start to get as many places as he did, but where could he have got if it wasn't for all of these interruptions? And it looks like their full course yellow limit is quite slow. Look at the gap forming in front, and that's potentially some time loss that they're not going to get back if we don't go to safety car after this.
Henrik Still has gained 16 places somehow. We are going to go safety car, though it is on track. So although he's not had too much opportunity, with people going off the road ahead of him, that's certainly helped. Now we go to safety car. So we've had one safety car, now a second in this longer procedure. Full course yellow slows everybody down. And if the road is clear, this might just be a safety car lap to get things back up to temperature to release. So what have we got left? We've had half the race. I'm not sure how many green flag laps in total we've had, but we've had half the race by way of the clock. And it's going to be a pretty short blast at the end, isn't it? Could be one of those GT4 races that just has incident after incident. Its driving standards in the championship have been a lot cleaner the last couple of seasons. But this has been, unfortunately, a little bit hectic early on and giving us these interrupted periods.
I think we've had 3 green flag laps.
That is
what I can see on my data stream here, and yeah, we're a long way off the pace as well, and there's just not been clean laps as we go on board the 48 car, and you can see the driver display now saying safety car, and so all cars are going to bunch up.
But it's in this lap. You can also see on that race control graphic it was confirming safety car in this time. 48 is the BMW M4 of Davide Meloni that he shares with Paolo Meloni, his father, and this car chasing after the Lotus. So 19th is Davide Meloni. Stefano D'Aste is just up the road. So we're going to go green at the end of this lap. Safety cars, you know, breed safety cars and all that, but hopefully the pit window ain't going to be far away, and that will bring people from the track into the pit lane, and things might just calm down a tad. Lights out, so Josh Ratican needs to control the pace once more. You can't pit at the end of this lap because the window is not yet open. Only when race control announce the opening of the pit window can you plan the pit stop.
So Josh Ratican needs to go even earlier this time to try and spread the field out to mitigate where he's going to hand the car over to Cresswell after that 10-second penalty served in the pit. So expect him to go even earlier. At the moment, he is in turn 11. Last time he went at 12. Is he going to do the same thing? And Duran would be wise that, a bit like in football when you're the goalkeeper, if you've had someone take a penalty, you've got a good chance of knowing their preferred choice. And again, he goes in turn 12 slightly earlier this time, but Duran staying much, much closer. Will he do track limits again on the inside? No, he doesn't, and not on the exit, but still good restart from the McLaren.
So we're back in business then as Ratican comes at the end of lap 13 out of turn 14, heads up towards the timing line with Jan Duran in second place. Ujo Mojica is in third, and then Ibaniev goes through in fourth place as the cars make their way down towards turn one. Weaving around in fourth is Luke Ibaniev in the Mercedes AMG. Fifth is Savronov. Sixth is Bessler. Seventh is Yilkova in the Supra. Beke Bessler has a long, long look at the BMW and he goes by. Nicely done that by Beke Bessler, and equally Savronov picked his battle. That's not a car in my class. Don't need to make a big fight of that. Josh Ratican, of course, with that 10-second penalty, or the 10 seconds to be applied on the pit stop, tumbles down the order. So he's got to try and get away and make any sort of break he can.
Yeah, really good move from Bessler, and Safronov tucking in nicely, but he will need to be looking in the mirror, wouldn't he? Gabriele Yilkova really on the rear of him hard, and then Becciamelli, then Victor Buiring. So those Pro-Am cars nose to tail, while the lead Pro-Am car, third overall, that Ginetta, the blue and white car, should be inheriting the race lead after the pit stops.
Downhill they drop once again. The drone chases after the Mercedes AMG. Ibaniev on the back of the type of car, the Ginetta that he used to race, and Ibaniev in that Mercedes trying to find a way past the Pro-Am leading Hugo Mojica as they come out of turn 9. So the pit window is getting closer, about a minute away from it, I would suggest, as down towards turn 10 comes Ratican, and to the inside line goes Ibaniev, and he goes through up into third place overall, stays third in the Silver Cup, but goes third in the race, and Mojica slots back in behind him. Then it's Beke Bessler having got himself to fifth at the expense of Safronov. Pit window is now open, in fact, so now the window is opened.
It was a late call, wasn't it, from race control? Will the teams be able to know that? The first three, not first four, and it's Bessler the first to pit.
So in he comes, and also in is Callum Davis there in the white McLaren. So this could be an important part of the race, whether you get your car in early or not. Beke Bessler will give way to Gabriele Piana, who's been silver champion 2 years ago, BMW specialist in GT4, but a Mercedes GT3 driver as well this weekend. Surprisingly, not many takers.
No, I think this undercut's going to be strong. They're not changing tyres, but the tyres weren't up to pressures yet. So I think pitting now, you'll get a quicker out lap than people's in lap because those pressures are there. And the problem for Ratican, front left punch up.
Yeah, he's got off the road at turn 1. He used that restart, or rejoin lane rather, but with the tyre having gone down, as we say, on the left front, he limps around. The real question is how and why and what has happened to that tyre. Why has he got a puncture? Because as the race leader, there shouldn't have been contact with anybody.
No, and we've just seen so many stones and staying on the racing line, which is a big worry, and I don't know why he's doing that, but he's decided he's got away with that one, but that wasn't the smartest place to place that car, and it's fully unravelled for him now, and I can only assume he's pushed too hard. We said not about not having TPMS. He would have had no warning on the dash, which you would if you ran TPMS. Hits the brakes, and already it's failed. You can see I think that's first hit. Low pressures while trying to push. That's the problem, and lots of stones. And he's already on the radio telling the team about the issue, but that's day done effectively for that car.
In fairness to Josh Rattigan, once he'd rejoined, he was on the outside, and then there was a constant stream of cars. So getting across from the outside to the inside was never going to be that easy, but that's effectively that car out of the race, even if it can rejoin after a very slow in-lap, because it couldn't have happened at a worse place. Turn one, it's going to be a long, long way down the order. Yes, they can change that in the pit stop. Had he come in on that previous lap, of course, could have been a different story. However, what that is going to give us is Jan Duran in the lead, but he's got a 5-second penalty as their number 26 Toyota Supra comes by. Javier Sagrera at the wheel of the car, another ex-single-seater racer. 77, meanwhile, is leading at the moment in AM. That's Rima Jafali from the class pole position. So there's some consolation for Elite Motorsport. As down the pit road now comes number 31 Porsche, Tim Horrell at the wheel. And again, much of that leading line stay out, just trying to get into a bit of a rhythm, trying to get some green flag laps in.
Yeah, I think as well, they're probably waiting for another full course yellow to do their pits. Now the pit window is open. I think it would stay open if there were another incident. And so maybe they could get a cheaper pit stop over the cars that have already stopped under green. But I am still surprised how many are staying out. And there's a spin in the background there for the Ajit Kumar car, wasn't it? I think the 28 AV Racing Porsche.
Which will hopefully not get ensnared and be able to rejoin, as there through the pit stop is number 31 Porsche. So Tim Horrell, the disabled driver, helped out of the car, and he wheels himself out of the fast lane of the pits, and into the car will now get Ismail Elahi. So good first stint that by Tim Horrell. And meantime, here is Jafari ahead of Christopher Brunhagen. So this is for the lead in AM. So out of all of that, don't forget, we did have Max Kronberg leading early on, but he has fallen back to third in class.
His
and
rear
he's about
left
to go second.
puncher.
Yep, on 77, rear left now on the other Elite McLaren.
Wow, Elite have got to be doing something with the pressures here. Got to be running too low, and the tyre just doesn't have it. I can't believe you'd have two separate failures like that and it'd just be bad luck. But Rima Jafali doing well to tripod her way through turn 9, and there's the damage through there. You can see it's already gone, and the rear left fully, instantly deflating. And yeah, she's done well to hold onto that car, the Saudi lady racer. It's actually suspension failure, isn't it? So it's not a tyre. The whole wheel is tucked up in the wheel arch. So I take it back about tyre pressures, and that is a full-blown suspension failure, old school F1 style.
Well, I wonder if that's through being aggressive over the curb, or a life part that's come to the end of its life sooner than they expected. Either way, this has all unravelled for Elite, hasn't it? After Eddie Ives, the team owner, being all smiles on the pit wall in qualifying. One car with a puncture and a penalty, another car with a suspension failure, and Rima Jafali brings the car down the pit lane. Real shame, because she was going so well leading the class. So that's better news, isn't it, for Max Kronberg, who'd fallen back to third in AM, now back up into second as Jan Duran leads the race. Luke Ibaniev is second, and there Hugo Mojica is third, and we've got just under 21 minutes to go. What next?
Ibanez to be the race leader, or Bessler, who pitted earlier, to be our leader? That's the battle we need to go. Jan Duran at the moment nearly 2 seconds ahead, so he should drop 3 seconds behind Ibanez. As you can see, the drivers now finishing their pit stops.
Yeah, Beko Bessler's given way to Gabriele Piana, who we know is good. So Piana, versus Alex Papadopoulos in stint 2. And with respect, Papadopoulos not normally as quick as Ibanez, so I would say out of that it's going to be advantage to Piana. Sergio Nicolai in his 310 Audi has done an absolute best middle sector. Here's the next wave of cars, look, pouring out of the pit lane, but past them goes Gabriele Piana. So this is the car to watch now, number 12 BMW. Piana is arguably the best placed of the pit stoppers and the fastest of them as well. So he now is going to be getting closer to the likes of Duran and Ibaniev, who will give way to Hadrian David and to Alex Papadopoulos respectively. But don't forget, 87 Supra leading on the road has a penalty to serve on the pit stop.
Yeah, Piana's pace is quicker than the cars have stopped. He's been 5 to 6 tenths quicker on his opening laps of the stint. So this is going to be really tight between Piana and Ibanez when Ibanez finally stops.
That's 310. That's Sergei Nicolai, who has done an absolute best in sector 1 on this lap, number 310. He's done the car's best lap last time around. This is the Mojica Ginetta now leading the race because Jan Durant is in. The leading Supra then is into the pit lane. So we need to see 87 rejoin relative to number 12 BMW, don't we?
Yeah, that's going to be the big one, and it's going to be a race, and the momentum is so strong here, and the drivers need to get themselves up to speed as well, of course, which is always an interesting thing at the end of the day. And you can see Ajit Kumar getting in, so the first time this year actually sharing the car, and Gabriela Yulkova walking across pit lane there to go and speak to the engineers on pit wall.
Robert Consony, by the way, has taken over number 3 Audi after its dramas on lap 1, up into 26th place, but still a tough race. Now, Ibanez's car, Papadopoulos at the wheel, was rejoining as well, and this is Gabriele Piana heading down towards us. So there on the move was Papadopoulos. He's coming slowly down the pit lane. Here at full chat on the pit straight is Gabriele Piana. So there you've had the switch between the Mercedes and the Toyota, but they're both going to be ahead as they come out of the pit lane. But now up into second place goes Gabriele Piana. He clears the Supra. So Papadopoulos versus Piana for the race lead. And I've got to say, I put my money on Piana in this situation.
Yeah, and he's got 3 laps under his belt as well, whereas Papadopoulos needs to get up to speed instantly, and Piana has been super aggressive this year with some of his overtakes. So even if the move's not on, expect Piana to make a move.
Yeah, and he absolutely excels in this car. Papadopoulos has been a winner in GT4 European Series, but normally Ibanez is the quicker of the two. In AM, Mojica has just come into the pit lane, having been caught on the in-lap by Safronov, so he's lost a big chunk of time on the in-lap. I can just see that out of the window as the leaders drop down through turn 5.
Yeah, exactly that. And so far, all cars sticking to the minimum pit stop time that I can see, including using their Joker, and the Ginetta now in, hopefully okay, and just a tyre pressure adjustment will bring that car back to life pace-wise.
Vinny Beltramelli giving way to Nico Ferrara as well. You've got Hendrik Still to give way to Joachim Bulting. There is Joachim ready to jump on board. Spectacularly painted crash helmet, never mind the car. Hendrik Still gets out, so he did gain 16 places. There's going to be an investigation post-race between the incident that put the Roberto Faria Aston off the road. The car that got involved with that, we understand, was number 30, which was the Kronberg-Blickler Porsche. That's why it lost its class lead, therefore, and dropped back. So that's not great news if you're fighting for a championship, that you're going to be investigated after the race. This for the race lead, then. Papadopoulos versus Piana. You can see how the gap has come right down. And Alex Papadopoulos then on his outlap, trying to hang on, trying to withstand the pressure of Gabriele Piana, who is right there behind. Others coming out of the pit lane, including the Mojica Ginetta. Is that going to hang on to the race lead? It's going to be close. The Mojicas come out ahead, but they're not yet up to speed. So round the outside goes Papadopoulos, and Piana tries to clear him for the race lead, and he has done it. Beautiful move by Gabriele Piana.
Yeah, really nice. We saw him do it at Spa, didn't we? Go round the outside at the bus stop chicane, and this time kept it very clean. Great move from Piana, and now the Ginetta is in the battle too. It's really 4-car battle, isn't it? Because the Toyota now with Henry David is on the move. Is it going to get past the Ginetta into turn 4?
Having a look on the inside as Piana defends the advantage from Alex Papadopoulos then. So there is Hadrian David up into 3rd place, down to 4th slips Thibaut Mojica. But of course, Mojica's real target is to hang on to the class lead. More dust flies as they go through turn 5. There's another car off the road maybe as Piana then accelerates downhill. So we've got, of course, the pit stops cycling through. I think Joachim Valder has yet, or has he stopped in 98? That car is...
That was the dust creator, I think, wasn't it?
So it is going to be Piana versus Papadopoulos. And we understand there's been dramas in the pit lane as well for Hendrik Still, Joachim Bulting's Porsche that's lost a whole heap of time. We'll get to that in a second as down towards turn 10 comes Piana then. So that car comes by there, a little bit further back. An effort made to the inside line by 98. That is Joachim Valder then. So I think he was notionally ahead because of the pit stops. He's got Robert Consony attacking him on one side. You've also got the number 26 Toyota Supra looking for a way through as well. That's Hudson Schwartz at the wheel now. So champion in silver, Consony pushes on. So at the end of the lap, it is going to be Gabriele Piana who does have the lead of the race from Papadopoulos, and then Hadrian David in 3rd in the Supra. Look, the green and grey car, and that makes a move to the outside line down towards turn 1. And Hadrian David does the Piana line all the way around the outside of Papadopoulos, who can do nothing to repel him.
Yeah, lovely move. And now what's the pace of the Super? Can he do anything about Piana? Gets a bit of a bump drive there from Papadopoulos, who's struggling to go with. And the Ginetta also struggling to go with. It looks like the Super and the BMW are the cars with the pace right now.
Yeah, but Thibaut Mojica, of course, still leading his class from Alexander Weintraub, and Weintraub is under attack from Ferrarin's Porsche. Ferrarin goes through, and then it's going to be the McLaren to do the attacking. So 5th now is Ferrarin, 6th is Weintraub, and in 7th place, Charlie Hart. Cindy Goudet in the Supra 8th, Brandon Oxley 9th in the Mercedes, and 10th is going to be Pedro Ibrahim's BMW, which was quite a long way back on the grid. There it is, just going through shot.
Yep, been a good race so far from the second Borusan automotive car there. Bit damage on the front of the race lab. McLaren should be okay. Just bodywork gets a nice switch back there on Weintraub. Should be positioned here, and that was a nice move from Charlie Hart. Gets the car down the inside and continue on his way. Next target, the 24 car of Ferrand.
So the leaders worked their way now after the sun in their eyes earlier. Now the light's starting to fade a little bit, and the headlights are starting to become a bit more obvious down towards turn 10. How is Robert Consony getting on? He was 13th at the start of the lap, still making progress, as now you can see there Cindy Goudet going through, and number 16 of Brandon Oxley behind, single-seater racer previously, new to GT4. He's going really well, I reckon. It's not a bad debut at all, this, from Brandon Oxley. Yeah,
really good. Pace is strong. Racecrafters look smart. Can he do anything about the Toyota? We've seen the other Mercedes struggling into turn 1. Can he change the fortunes for this sister NM racing car?
Over the timing line, once more they go. Now to the inside line, faints Charlie Hart in the RAFA Racing Race Lab McLaren. 6th that car is, and Brandon Oxley off the road, has to take to the escape road. He's got to stay in that lane to rejoin on the outside of turn 3, and does so there, but falls back behind Pedro Ibrahim BMW. Pedro, another driver switching between GT3 and 4 over a weekend. As there, another place gained by Charlie Hart, moves himself up ahead of Nico Ferrarin. That is a silver going ahead of a Pro-Am, and in Pro-Am, in the championship, it looks like this. Safronov and Weintraub on 179 against the 156 of Still and Bolting, and it means it just keeps it alive going into tomorrow, but only just.
Happy with that Oxley rejoin? Is that how it should be done?
I'm happy with that. Yep, yeah, I'll give him that.
I'm glad you're going to go to bed with a smile on your face over that, David.
Easily pleased, you know. So the cars carry on in this long train to be 5th all the way back down to, what, about 14th, as through goes Pedro Ibrahim. And I was saying that Henrik Still and Joachim Bulting lost time in the pits, and this is why there was a problem. Look at the front of the car. Bonnet clips, unclipped, clipped. One mechanic very frustrated. Total miscommunication by the look of it, as though a mechanic had been called forward, but for no obvious reason.
Yeah, it looked like it was good to go, and it was like they'd opened the bonnet and maybe forgotten to put the pins back in, but you could see Joachim Bolton waving his hands to have the mechanic to get out of the way, but there was something done and then not done in a set procedure, which is interesting and unusual for the WRS racing team.
Yeah, because they've been so well drilled this year, and at the moment that car is 14th in class. So out of the points, which is disastrous for Bulting. They need dramas to affect 1 or 2 more up the road. And of course, in this race, the way that it's gone, many of those Pro-Am cars are a long way up the order overall. So it's even harder for Joachim Bulting to get back into the mix. That is Cindy Goudet on the attack to try to retake the place she just lost from Robert Consony, but to no avail. So Consony now goes up into 9th place overall. The safety cars have helped the number 3 team rebuild the race to an extent, but they're still pushing very hard indeed. And there you can see on the outside line Pedro Ibrahim coming up to have a go now at Alexander Weintraub. And we'll see at the other side of the corner whether it's worked. Not quite. There is the car now of Daniel Blickler back into the lead of Am. So it was down in 3rd, but the demise of the Jafalis and also being able to rebuild this stint has put Daniel Blickler in number 30 back into the lead of the class. There is the overall race leader, Gabriele Piana. So the BMW that we were saying in qualifying didn't look all that rapid. It only started 9th on the grid, finds itself in the lead.
Yeah, it looks like the gap coming down slightly on this lap. The previous laps have been within a 10th one way or the other, but suddenly David is putting in some pace, and yeah, I think he's gained 4/10 on this lap in the first two sectors. So the Toyota coming, another Toyota going, another Toyota to the inside. Good clean move there, and for a moment I thought it was going to be contact, but very smart driving from both Toyotas there to avoid contact. And we have had a pit stop too short there, the 98 car, 21-second penalty.
And there's another one coming for 88 as well, which is the Gatehouse driven Mercedes. And there you've got number 310 of Sergei Nicolou pressing on as well at 14th place at the start of the lap, and Nicolai going to even further up the order come the end of it with 9 minutes still on the clock in a really topsy-turvy race this. But Gabriele Piana now leading by over a second. Number 259 Porsche here comes towards the end of the lap with Daniel Blickler right on the back now of Rutger Brakel. So Brakel in 259, Blickler number 30, and looking as though the championship is going to go their way because they will outscore the non-finishing Leandri and Deban. So provisionally, Kronberg and Blickler to be AM champions. Daniel Blickler doesn't need this fight. He just needs to bring the car to the finish, keep out of trouble, know when to hold and when to fold.
Yeah, at the moment though, he wants to get past the 259 Porsche just to kind of continue his momentum. And momentum definitely with David. The gap now down to 8/10, and is Piana struggling with the tyre, using lots of curb there. You could hear the BMW, its engine, lift up the revs as it hopped over. That will be losing some power, so shorter distance, but potentially less forward momentum.
So we've got just under 8 minutes to go. Piana to David at the start of the lap was 11/10 of a second. Sector 1 quicker by 4/10, Hadrian David. So that's a big amount of time gained in a pretty short part of the racetrack, because the first sector ends even before turn 4. So David here is having a real go. It's been a tough season for Hadrian David coming new into GT racing. They've always been quick, him and Jan Duran, but it took until the last race at the Nürburgring, race 2 there, to actually score the first win, even though they've been well placed within the championship. Pace, bit of bad luck along the way, and Gabriele Piana then comes out of turn 14. Interesting battle that, because in a sense the Supra is a kind of BMW, isn't it? It's on a BMW floor plan, so interesting to see the battle going on between those two cars, the M4 ahead of the Supra, and the gap is down to 7/10 of a second. Now, fastest lap of the race, Mackenzie Cresswell, who's taken over from Josh Rattigan after the puncture, but the pole car 31st in the race now.
Yeah, good bit of rage there to put the car forward up there. Pace-wise, Weintraub on the defence here from Oxley, who sends it to the inside. Can he get stopped? He's coming in hot, fires it in, goes off. Has he got to do your rejoin? It's worse than that. He's through the gravel trap, and an unfortunate nature learning about how heavy a GT car is, and continues on the access road. Yeah,
he got onto the access road eventually, didn't he? And just avoids contact with another of the BMWs. Sorry, no, the number 1 Mustang, wasn't it? The Michael Haverant's car. So that was Keith Gatehouse going off the road. And now Weintraub coming under more attack. Cindy Goudet goes round the outside.
And Weintraub very fair with Goudet there, leaving her space. I thought he was going to squeeze out, and now the other Supra come round. It's been a Supra battle. These 3 Supras have swapped positions every time we've gone to them. They're in a different order, and it's Cindy Goudet now leading that Supra class and also getting past Weintraub, who seems to be struggling for pace. Won the French GT Championship recently, but obviously now struggling in this GT4 European Series.
So number 3, Robert Consonet, up from, what was it, 34th at the end of the opening lap. 8th that car, and set to gain even more before the end of the race. In fact, it's now 7th because he's cleared Nico Ferrer around. So Consonet going nicely. Now time penalty of 5 seconds for Keith Gatehouse for the track limit offences. Sergio Nicolai in the Audi in all of this. He's been really, really quick, really racy this weekend. And 310, the grey Audi with the sort of ink splatter livery, goes up the inside and gains another place there, away from Schwartz in that Toyota.
Yeah, good hard racing from Willie Motorsport there. They thought they're going to go in the door of Weintraub, and Weintraub really has no pace. And a change for the lead into turn 1. That was easy. David has done. Piana seems to be struggling with rear grip as we picked up that shot. So is this job done, or has Piana got anything to fight back? I also think Charlie Hart is on for a podium position here. And
look at the way there that Piana does get the inside line through 3, but wasn't able to stay alongside. He's on the lights to try to distract the Toyota of Hadrian David, but the Nürburgring winner last time out, trying to do a double, if you like, and do back-to-back victories. But Gabriele Piana then has fallen back Don't forget, the Supra was quicker in qualifying. It was ahead in the first stint. It only really dropped back because of the penalty, and this is exactly how the lead changed. Piana tries to defend, but in fairness, he does give Hadrian David racing room. David was really late on the brakes, but he did a good job of getting the car stopped.
Yeah, he nearly went in the back of Piana. He sent it there. Piana maybe just a bit too middle of the road, quite literally, with his defence. Didn't go inside, didn't go outside, and left the door open, and David filled it there. So good move from the Supra. Charlie Hart 88 hundredths behind the car, and now in front.
Yeah, indeed, he's had that change then. So Charlie Hart, number 812 McLaren, has gone by ahead then of Alex Papadopoulos, who, don't forget, was leading when he came back onto the circuit. So he's dropped down the order. More of the speedy Supras go through there, with 25 and 26 running together in this second stint. That means that at the minute you've got Jose Carlos Perez battling with Hudson Schwartz. Good to have new teams coming in and more examples of the Supra. Nice little battle going on there as Alberto Nasca in the Lotus comes under attack. Look, dropping down towards turn 10. That is Joachim Walder behind him, but Nasca has made some progress on this lap.
Yeah, and that Cindy Goudet move was for the final podium position as well, wasn't it? So that was an important move. You can see she's 9th overall and creating one of the longest French flags on the graphic there. And really good pace from Cindy Goudet. I don't think she's got the pace to catch the Porsche in front, but can she defend from the cars behind?
Which is, as you say, a really good effort. That car that has had a podium in the second race at Paul Ricard and a podium in both races at the Nürburgring, so they've been on a bit of a roll of late, as now the Paul Petit, Greg Gilbert Audi challenges to the inside line. Paul Petit at the wheel of it and goes through, gains the place, then away from Joachim Walder. That BMW fading a little bit as we look down from the drone, chasing after the race leaders. Piana chasing after Hadrian David, and he hasn't got an answer. They're evenly matched, but Piana is dropping away.
Have to duck as we go under the bridge there every time. And yeah, Piana's settled the pace slightly, but the Supra just seems to be super kind on its tyres and very consistent with the lap times as well. Is just able to pump in the 151s. He had a 53 the last lap with the overtake, but yeah, the pace for that Toyota Supra has been phenomenally strong.
Yeah, the Matmut Evolution team operating that car for Hadrian David and Jan Duran, teaming up for the first time this year, and Hadrian David racing in the Le Mans Cup as well as in this, having moved from into GT4 racing. So a good single-seater Formula Regional racer he was. This is another change of place as Consonny goes through now up into 6th place. So 34th was Benjamin Lariche at the end of the opening lap, and 6th they are now on lap 26 of the race, with one more lap to be squeezed out, I reckon, at the end of this.
Yeah, what could have been for this car? They started on the 4th row, so the results would look like they finished where they started, but there was a huge discretion, wasn't there, at turn 1? We had to go through the gravel trap to miss everything kicking off at turn 2, but and more contact there between two BMWs.
Yeah, more kicking off, and that's Joachim Walder off the road, and he got tangled up with Maloney, and we're on the last lap, and he's stuck in the gravel. So that can probably go to the end under a yellow, can't it? But the Schubert Motorsport car going no further. Joachim Walder kind of floored it, and off he went again. Now, this is how it all started. So Maloney is ahead. Up the inside goes Walder, clips Maloney. Both get sideways, and now Walder floors the throttle to try to get it off the grass, and round it goes.
Yeah, you won't want to watch that back at the Christmas party, will he? He was synchronised, spinning, and then that is going to be beached in the gravel. And yeah, hopefully they can just keep it under local yellow to keep this race to finish under green. And this should be the last lap, shouldn't it?
Yes, it is indeed, as there is Hadrian David climbing all over the curb. Gabriele Piana trying to apply the pressure. He's going to lose one possible overtaking opportunity gap at turn 12, even if he were close enough, which I'm, in fairness, doubting. But down towards turn 10, Piana again just tries to jink out and unsettle Hadrian David, but David has driven well in both LMP3 machinery and GT4 machinery this year, switching from two very different styles of race car. And here he is, up then towards turn 12. It is going to be a second victory and a second straight victory, because they won the last race at the Nürburgring. The first race at Barcelona will go their way as well. Hadrian David, Jan Duran, the Matmut Evolution team in the Toyota Supra, sideways almost there, coming out of 13 as he's pressing on, but the checker flag awaits. It's going to be win number 2 of the year then. Here in Barcelona, honours go to Jan Duran and Hadrian David, who brings home the Toyota Supra to win from Gabriele Piana and Bekke Bechler in second place. And here to win in Pro-Am is going to be Timo Mojica. And that will be the first win of the year for the Ginetta, which has looked really quick all day long. So third to Charlie Hart, maiden podium. Papadopoulos fourth, Ebrahim fifth, Consani sixth. Mojica wins in Pro-Am to the team's delight. From in eighth overall, Sergio Nicolai, the winner of this year's Mugello 24 Hours. And this is going to be the AM race winner and champion, Daniel Blickler and Max Kronberg. And that makes Kronberg Pro-Am last year and AM this year champion, and back-to-back titles, something that's not been done before. So bravo to Max Kronberg there. Gabriele Ilkova celebrating because the car third again. Podium finish, Cindy Goudet has brought it home.
Really good result for that Supra and this Supra. And the Toyota coming into a bit of form at the moment, and pace good. And again, look how dirty it is offline. And shout out to the RAFA Racing car as well. Third for Charlie Hart, and Callum Davis started that car all the way down in 18th position. Yeah. So a great race for them.
Yeah, Charlie Hart seemed to do a lot of the hard yards in that. Drove really well, didn't he? But we've said all season that he's a good, quick young driver. So a job well done. And in AM, it was Blickler and Kronberg, the winners from the Porsche of Ismail Elahi and Tim Horrell. And then third to Keith Gatehouse, despite a penalty, and co-driver Igor Sorokin. Provisionally, we'll wait for some of those penalties to be applied, but a really good drive by Hadrien David to overcome that longer pit stop with the penalty and to take honours. And a good drive by the Mojicas. We've seen that car look a bit battle-scarred, to say the least, on some occasions, but here, a really good race. Seventh overall and a class win. And it was a stop-start kind of a race, but some good racing when we got it underway. So bravo to our top three in each of the classes. The drivers will make their way around then to the Parc Ferme area, and the results will be confirmed as soon as possible with one or two penalties there. W&S celebrate a class championship. Tim Horrell in his wheelchair talking to Max Kronberg, and Tim Horrell will be required for the podium as well, so not a bad debut in the championship, was it, with a class podium. And that's a 1-2 for W&S in that category, and of course a championship to boot. So Jan Durand, Hadrien David are our victors from Berke Besler and Gabriele Piana. Callum Davis taking third along with Charlie Hart, then Luc Ibanez and Alex Papadopoulos clear of Yagish Gedic and Pedro Ebrahim, with Benjamin Lariche and Robert Consani sixth after being 34th at the end of that rather hectic opening lap. In the Pro-Am class, a win for the Mojicas ahead of Vinny Beltramati and Nico Ferreira, Gabriele Ilkova and Cindy Goudet taking third. In AM, Daniel Blickler and Max Kronberg win the race and provisionally the championship from Ismail Elahi and Tim Horrell. And then third in the class, the Brunhagens, Christopher and Mikael Brunhagen next over the line. Quite a few non-finishers, even one on that penultimate lap going off the road was the BM of Joachim Walder. So there, the winning drivers in that Parc Ferme area. Happy co-drivers going to join as well, and our podiums will not be too far away. So we can hear first, hopefully, from Jan Durand and Hadrien David. They've done it for the second race in a row, and they are race winners. And Alex is down there to have a word with them.
Boys, congratulations. That was not an easy race. That last overtake was world-class.
Thank you so much. Very happy. I think we did an amazing day as a team. Double P2 in quali. We knew our pace was strong in the race. So yeah, I was looking forward to jump in the car. And yeah, the pace felt very good. I managed to catch Piana again and overtake him in turn one. I knew I didn't have many opportunities, so I already planned to send it into turn one, and he didn't defend as much as I expected, so he made my life a bit easier.
Good job done, and your stint was not easy. You managed to keep yourself out of mischief and really capitalised on other people's mistakes.
Yeah, it was a difficult stint with all the safety cars and full course yellows, but yeah, obviously congratulations for Adrian's stint. It was crazy. Can't be happier to have a win in-house and with all my family and friends here watching us. So muchas gracias a todos los que habéis venido a vernos y mañana por más. Gracias.
Gracias. Congratulations, boys. Well done.
Very happy Jan Duran and Adrien David. The same top two that we had in the most recent race prior to this at the Nürburgring. In other words, the Toyota beating the BMW. And interesting that Adrien David was saying that Piana didn't defend as much as he expected. And I think you were saying the same thing, really.
Yeah, and I was surprised at the sort of the lack of defence from Piana, really. And maybe you'll watch that back and regret it slightly.
Now, what about our Pro-Am victors? The Mojicas, the brothers, Hugo and Thibaut, are victorious. Let's get back down to Alex in Park Fair.
Oh, Mojica boys, that was a brilliant, brilliant drive. Congratulations. That didn't look easy out there.
How lucky it was?
It didn't look easy out there.
No, at the end it was very, very tricky. The tires, I think it's completely dead. And we managed to bring the car without track limit and to don't take penalties. And yes, we are here.
Congratulations. Just how tough was that first stint with all those yellow flags?
Yes, it was very difficult with the tires to keep the temperatures in tire. Very difficult. But I think we make a good job. CMR make a good job too. Everybody make a good job. We are very happy to make this project.
Jeanette looks strong. Congratulations.
So Hugo and Thibaut Mojica taking class honours, and that's their first win of the year, so well done. Great to see that season-long effort being rewarded, isn't it? So through they come victorious, and the Ginetta run again by the CMR team, Classic Modern Racing, one of the more versatile teams, whether it's in GT3 or GT4 or Lamborghini Super Trofeo, and they run different brands in the same race. You know, they can have different manufacturers within a GT4 grid, for example. It's all very impressive. Now, Daniel Blicker and Max Kronberg have won in AM, both in race and we reckon the championship.
You've got your lucky mascot again. How pleased are you? Happy?
Yes.
Congratulations, you did it. You sealed it, and you boys made history. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks a lot. That was crazy. I mean, I did today crazy race actually. And yeah, we were lucky, more lucky than our competitors, actually. And yeah, to seal the title in AM in the first season, I'm flashed. I'm more than happy. It's fantastic.
And 2 titles back to back as well. How does that feel?
Yeah, it's great. Actually, like when we started the season, the first races were not so good. So I'm really happy that we got in the title. So last year in the Pro AM, this year in the AM class. And the race was tough. I one time got hit by the Aston Martin, then another car. There were like so many crashes. So I was just sitting in the car and praying that we're gonna not hit again. And so really happy.
When you came into this weekend, like, to what extent did you allow yourself to dream that this might be the final scenario?
Yeah, actually it was only 10 points. So I mean, 10 points when there is 52 to go is not much. So we knew actually we would have to fight and see what our competitors are doing. So in the end, with 2 poles, that was like 2 points on top. And yes, I mean, now this race was like perfect. So for tomorrow we can, I don't know, drink beer before the race and just have fun.
It's a tough championship and you guys have done well. Well done.
So Daniel Blichter, Max Kronberg, AM champions, and that's a Porsche that's had again an up and down race. You know, that contact with Roberto Fari, that's being investigated. It was up and down the order, but they kept out of trouble, and Daniel Blichter bringing it home for the category win. So consolation for WNS, even if the Pro-Am title might be slipping out of reach. It was a really eventful first GT4 European Series race in Barcelona, and Josh Rattigan led away, but he was deemed to have effectively jumped the start. So a 10-second penalty came many laps into the race, and it wasn't many corners before drama arrived on the scene. Off the road went Jan Durant. He rejoined in that rather crowded Greg Gilbert, who rejoined and clipped Edwin Helston, and both of them spun. And in avoidance, champion Benjamin Lariche had to go off-road. A couple of laps later, Eric Evans got into the Ricardo van der Ende BMW, turned that around. Out of the race, van der Ende, who'd been clipped also by another BMW, and then Evans was out with broken suspension. Safety car was triggered, and on the resumption, we then ended up with David Kuhlmann collecting Philippe Talamy. They were off the road, and a punctured tyre for the race leading Josh Rattigan put him out through the gravel trap as well. Eventually, things calmed down a bit, and Alex Papadopoulos led after the pit stops from Gabriele Piana's BMW. But it wasn't long before the gap was nothing at all, and Piana was on the attack as a long pit stop badly delayed Joachim Bolting before he was able to rejoin. The mechanic checking the pins on the front bodywork of the car. Bolting eventually bolted from the pit lane, but a long way back. So Piana took over the race lead. Hadrian David took over second place away from Alex Papadopoulos, and the Supra then set off in pursuit of the BMW. More drama as off the road went Brant Roxley's Mercedes across the gravel, and then he had to get into that rejoin lane. As for the race lead, David made a late dive up the inside, but he kept the car under control as it swerved past the BMW, and that was a lead Hadrian David was not to lose. As on the penultimate lap, there was more BMW battling as Paolo Meloni was clipped by Joachim Valder, and Valder ended up in the gravel as he booted it off the grass and spun across the road. Through all the mayhem came Hadrian David and Jan Duran for a second successive win of the season, and a great job done. They win race 1 in Barcelona. So to the podium we will go in a moment, and then the drivers are going to make their way up onto the requisite steps. 3 podiums, of course, 1 per class. We've got Silver, Pro Am and Am, and it's always a good sign when our cameraman is there, because that means the drivers can't be far away. But it's a case of getting the drivers there, and in the case of Am, making sure that Tim Horrell is able to get to the podium easily. So the cars required for scrutineering held at the foot of the race control building. The GT4 finale will be tomorrow at 1:05, give or take. The cars are going to be on track. The build-up to the final GT World Challenge Europe race, and the final support race will be the GT4 drivers, so they get a little bit of a lie-in, although there are some teams with a lot of work to do now. So the Toyota then taking a second victory of the year, and a job well done. A car that, as I said a few minutes ago, has been competitive, but it's finally clicked late season.
Yeah, it really has. It's a bit of a party atmosphere, isn't it, as we go into the last day of school, and how will these drivers approach that? We saw plenty of carnage in that opening stint. The second stint ran much cleaner, didn't it? We had the 1 car in the gravel at the end of the race, but that was really it. And yeah, it felt like the second stint drivers were on better behaviour than the first.
You saw SRO's Caroline Azima there, the championship manager, making sure she's got all the drivers, and then gives the nod to the circuit announcer, who can call forward the drivers. And that means that our final podium of the day, the end of our first GT4 race, is ready to go. The silver drivers should be the first, and therefore you've got Charlie Hart there and Callum Davis behind. Graduates of the, yes, Ginetta Junior ranks of years past. They are, for their first podium of the year, a good effort. Then for second place out will come Gabriele Piana and Becky Bachelor. A little bit frustrated, no doubt, that the BMW didn't quite have the pace to stay in the lead, although Gabriele Piana certainly stayed on the back of the Supra, which takes a second successive win, courtesy of the Matmut Evolution team. The team represented on the podium, and it is going to be the top step for Hadrian David and Jan Duran after a very impressive drive. And they will come forward as race winners for the second time this year. Important win for Jan Duran, as he was saying, on home soil with his friends, his family here. And for Hadrian David, the career switch away from Formula Regional to sports car and GT racing has been a successful one, as the combination of Jan Duran and Hadrian David take a second win of the season. So a very happy team, and Jan Duran and Hadrian David then are our race winners. Champagne is ready, but there are trophies first of all, and it is Jose Luis Santamaria, the managing director of the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, who will present the trophies to, first of all, Charlie and Callum. Charlie Hart, Callum Davis in the Race Lab run RAFA Racing Club McLaren. They get third. second placed trophies will go next to Gabriele Piana and Becky Bachelor. And then the team's trophy to Matmut Evolution, operating the car very successfully. The team's trophy is given, and then the winners' trophies await to Yann Duran and Hadrien David. Yann Duran on the left as you look, Hadrien David on the right as you look. And I love the fact that the podium here is the track map shape, not just some sort of boring rectangle, but it's all cut away in the shape of the track. There are the winners' trophies then to Hadrien David and Yann Duran, and they take win number 2 of the season and back-to-back wins, one at Nürburgring in race 2 and the next in race 1 here in Barcelona. Race 1 in GT4 European Series, won by Hadrien David and Yann Duran. They're all back on track just after 1 o'clock tomorrow. We'll see you then. So the champagne sprayed here at Barcelona. These are the drivers victorious in silver. Yann Duran and Hadrien David make sure that the team join in the celebration. And a really impressive effort down the Toyota Supra, coming out on top. Curious the way, in a sense, that Piana couldn't sustain the lead, but then never fell more than about, 6 tenths away.
Yeah, he seemed to be able to keep it there, didn't he? And just wonder if he could have defended turn 1. Would that have been enough to hold on for the last few laps?
So this is how we look in silver. The championship already won by Benjamin Lerichon, Robert Conseil, but Yann Duran and Hadrien David now 2 ahead of Gabriele Piana. So an important win, that's an important pass by Hadrien David as far as the championship is concerned. And then Alex Papadopoulos and Luc Ibanez 4th. And what a disappointing season it's ended up for Marco Signoretti and Eric Evans, leading early on in the year, winning 2 races, but now a rather distant 5th ahead of Mackenzie Cresswell and the outgoing champ Josh Rattican. Paul Petit and Greg Gilbert also struggling in that race after the dramas early on. And Ricardo van der Ende and Benjamin Lassane, of course, not getting anywhere with that accident, putting them out of the race. So the next podium, I should say, is for the Pro-Am drivers. And they will make their way shortly onto the podium, which is being made ready. The real spread of winners across that class over the course of the season, and the drivers being called forward now with Cindy Goudet and Gabriele Ilkova out first. Gabriele Ilkova with Cindy Goudet behind her. They go yet again onto the podium. That's another Toyota Supra coming good in this second part of the season. Then for second place, Vinny Beltramelli and Nico Ferrarin, who won at the start of the season at Paul Ricard, but have not quite been able to match that success again. It's another win, though, for CMR, for Charlie Roucherar's team. And Thibaut and Hugo Mojica leap forward as very happy and arguably very overdue winners. The Ginetta drivers are on the top step here in Barcelona. Mojica very happy with all of that, and what's also nice to see, Joe, in that is the mix of cars. Ginetta beats Porsche, beats Toyota, no one brand dominant.
Yeah, again showing the balance of performance, hard at work there, constantly being adjusted. And the hard bit is, of course, the different circuits you go. You might get the perfect bop at Nürburgring, and then suddenly Barcelona comes around and you need a different balance of performance and so many metrics in play. But definitely coming to the fore as looking very strong, as an equal chance for everyone.
So first win of the year for the Ginetta, one of the older cars on a GT4 grid these days, but on a day when a podium went to the brand new GT2 Ginetta G56. Good to see one of the old faithful Genesis still being competitive, and that's again how the BOP works. And don't forget the championship winning in silver Audi is hardly the youngest of cars, so proves that you can still have an older machine and still be successful. And the Mojicas show just how much that means as the celebrations are underway here for our Pro-Am drivers at Barcelona. Nico Ferrara, Vinny Beltramelli are ready with the champagne, and in a rather ungallant fashion, all of that goes on before Gabriele Ilkova and Cindy Goudet are ready, but they join in now. And it's good to see that Toyota going so well after a tough season last year and a pretty tough first half of this year. But bravo to Thibaut and Hugo Mojica. So the Pro-Am drivers and indeed team leave the podium, and that is a battle that is now being headed by Stanislav Safronov and Alexander Weintraub by quite a margin over the Hendrik Steel-Joachim Bulting combination. So they're not done yet, but it is advantage Safronov and Weintraub. Joachim Valver and Victor Bouveng not finishing after Valver's trip into the gravel late on. Nico Ferrara and Vinny Beltramelli are fourth ahead of Goudet and Ilkova in fifth. And Pro-Am, again, has had a real spread of winners, hasn't it, over the course of the year, including the Lotus.
Yeah, the Lotus has been fast when working, and I think the PB Racing team that Diassi obviously runs as well as drives for has done a really good job of getting on top of the very quick Lotus. It's just trying to make it work full season for really a championship hunt.
So Stanislav Safronov, Alexander Weintraub ahead in the championship with one more race to go. And now the AM podium, where father and son Brunhagen's, dad Mikhail, son Christopher Brunhagen, again Toyota drivers, step forward for third. For second place, there will be Ismail Elahi and their co-driver Tim Holler. Tim Holler onto the podium, rather. And then for the category win, it's going to be Daniel Blickler and Max Kronberg, not only as the class winners in the race, but champions as well. And out they will come, making it a 1-2 for the WNS Motorsport team. A delighted Daniel Blickler and a delighted Max Kronberg as well. The Pro-Am champ last year, Am champ this year. Bravo Max Kronberg as he steps onto the podium. The WNS Motorsport team taking a 1-2 in AM. Max Kronberg nearest to us there, Daniel Blickler with him. Winners in the race and in the championship then in AM. And that is 4 or 5 wins in a row, in fact, that they've now had. 6 in total for Max Kronberg and Daniel Blickler. And 6 wins out of 9 races does rather suggest that they are deserving champions, does it not? Great debut in the championship for Tim Horrell and for Ismail Elahi. Really good effort, that. And great to see Tim Horrell on the podium also. So the trophies now going to the winning drivers. And a job well done by WNS, celebrating at the end of this penultimate race of the season. And another Toyota crew represented. I think one on each podium is pretty good going. So now champagne is prepared, but we'll see how this goes with obviously Tim Holler leading the support of the team, which is great to see him standing on the podium as well, and the team looking after him. So now, a bottle, I think, hopefully will be given to Tim by Ismail Elahi. No, just going to get soaked instead. So WNS making sure everybody celebrates their success. Tim's chair brought for him, but well done to Daniel Blickler and Max Kronberg at the end of a really good race, really good season for the WNS Motorsport team.
They've been phenomenally consistent, haven't they? Just had that awkward pit stop with the Hendrick Still Jochen Bolting one.
Yeah,
just
odd one.
To know, Alexander Legris saying it was a problem with the bonnet pins that we suspected, but I don't know what caused the problem.
But we have champions in Max Kronberg and Daniel Blickler, and with the car off early in the race, Jean-Mathieu Leandre and Anthony de Barn no longer able to fight back. And the Brunhagens third in the race, third on points right now from Igor Sorokin and Keith Gatehouse, Stefan Nilsson and Mats Olsen next in the championship. Good to see Ajit Kumar as well getting a reasonable number of points in his first season of GT4 racing. So that's the end of activity today for GT4, but just after 1 o'clock tomorrow there will be their final race of the season, and it should be another barnstormer to round out the year. More action then from GT4 European Series tomorrow. We'll see you then.